You've been spending so much time watching, comparing, scrolling, and doubting that you've forgotten the most important person in your life. You. You've poured your energy into people who don't see your value, into situations that drain your spirit, into expectations that were never yours to carry. And in all that noise, in all that chasing, in all that pleasing, you lost touch with your own power. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked in with yourself? Not just your schedule, not your to-do list, but you. When was the last time you sat in silence? Not to overthink, but to reconnect. You see, your energy is your most valuable currency. And every time you hand it over to people who don't appreciate it or problems that don't deserve it, you bankrupt yourself emotionally, mentally, and even physically. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not less than. You are distracted. And the moment you shift your energy inward, something powerful begins to happen. You stop shrinking. You stop settling. You stop apologizing for being different. Because when you focus on you, you remember that you're not here to fit in, you're here to stand out. You're not here to impress, you're here to impact. So while others are busy competing, you're building. While they chase validation, you're chasing growth. And that shift, that silent, unseen shift, will do more for your future than 1,000 people clapping for your past. Have you ever walked into a room and felt completely drained without anyone even saying a word to you? Have you ever spent just 5 minutes with someone and it felt like they took a piece of you with them when they left? That's not coincidence. That's energy. And most people don't realize just how powerful theirs is until it's gone. Energy is more than just how awake you feel. It's your life force. It's what fuels your creativity, your peace of mind, your ability to focus, to love, to create, to rebuild. And yet we give it away so easily. We hand it over to arguments that don't deserve responses. We donate it to opinions that don't pay our bills. We waste it chasing people who only see us as an option. Every time you engage in things that pull you out of alignment, you are paying with your energy. And the price is always higher than you think. Here's the truth most people miss. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every conversation is worth having. Not every battle needs to be fought. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. It's about learning to say no without guilt. It's about stepping away from noise without explaining yourself. It's about choosing peace over performance. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention. Likes, comments, opinions, news, noise. And if you're not careful, you will wake up one day and realize you've been giving all of yourself to everything but yourself. You can't keep feeding everyone else and expect to stay full. You can't keep saying yes to everyone else while saying no to your own well-being. At some point, you have to realize your energy is not unlimited, and the way you spend it will shape your future. When you start protecting your energy, people will notice. Some will call it distance, others will call it ego. Let them, because it's not about them, it's about your clarity, your health, your direction. Not everyone will understand your boundaries, but the ones meant for your journey will respect them. You don't need to argue with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to explain your silence to those who only valued your noise. You don't need to keep showing up in spaces that make you question your worth. Your energy is sacred. It's time to treat it that way. Imagine what your life would look like if you started investing your energy into the things that feed you, grow you, center you. Imagine the projects you'd finish, the peace you'd feel, the confidence you'd carry. That version of you, the one who's focused, fulfilled, unbothered, That version already exists. You just have to stop giving your power away to everything that doesn't align with it. You protect your phone battery with chargers, your house with locks, your car with insurance. But what are you doing to protect your energy? Because once it's low, everything suffers. Your mood, your motivation, your vision. And when it's gone, no one's coming to fill it back up for you. So today, begin noticing where your energy goes. Who drains it? What steals it? And start making quiet, powerful decisions to redirect it. Because you only get one life, and wasting it on people, problems, and places that deplete you is a price you can no longer afford to pay. Now, here's what happens next. Once you start protecting your energy, something shifts inside you. You begin to hear your own voice again. And when you do, you realize just how much time you've spent trying to be seen, heard, accepted by people who were never even qualified to define your value. It starts early. Someone questions your worth, and instead of dismissing it, you try to prove them wrong. You work harder, do more, bend farther, and every time you get applause, you take it as confirmation that you're finally enough. But what happens when the applause stops? What happens when the people you try to impress still don't approve? Do you collapse? Or do you finally understand that validation was never theirs to give in the first place? The truth is, as long as your worth depends on someone else's opinion, you'll never feel whole, because validation that comes from outside will always leave you chasing. And the problem with chasing is that you end up running from yourself. You don't need louder praise, you need deeper self-trust. You see, self-confidence isn't built by constantly asking, do they see me? It's built by looking in the mirror and saying, I see me. It's built in the quiet decisions when you choose discipline over distraction, when you keep your promises to yourself, when you stop shrinking in rooms where your presence was meant to be felt. This isn't arrogance, this is alignment. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are here to embody it. Every time you silence yourself to keep the peace, every time you pretend to be less so others can feel more, you trade your confidence for comfort. But confidence doesn't grow where comfort lives. It grows where you're willing to be misunderstood, willing to stand alone, willing to say, I am enough, even if no one claps for me today. And that's not easy, because we've been taught to chase approval like it's oxygen. But approval is not the same as fulfillment. You can have 1,000 compliments and still feel empty, or you can have no audience at all and still feel powerful, because your validation comes from something unshakable, your own reflection. So shift your focus from them to you, from likes to legacy, from performance to purpose. Stop asking the world to tell you who you are. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And once you take it back, you start walking differently. You stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself. You stop explaining your decisions and start owning them. You stop performing and start becoming. There is no freedom like the freedom that comes when you stop chasing validation and start building your own inner foundation. That's when everything changes. That's when you walk into a room and don't need anyone to notice, because you already know who you are. And once you reach that level of clarity, of grounded confidence, of self-respect, you become untouchable. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you're finally in control of what defines you. That's the real turning point. The moment when you stop looking sideways and start looking inward, because comparison, more than anything else, is the thief that slowly empties your energy and erodes your confidence. It's sneaky. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up when you're scrolling through someone else's highlight reel and suddenly feel behind. It shows up when someone else gets the job, the recognition, the relationship, and you quietly question if you're enough. But what if I told you that comparison is built on illusion? That the version of people you admire isn't their truth. It's just a part they allow you to see. You don't see their breakdowns, their doubts, their behind-the-scenes struggles. You see the polished result, not the painful process. And the moment you measure your journey against theirs, you start forgetting that you were never meant to follow someone else's path. You were meant to walk your own. This is why protecting your energy and building your self-confidence matters so deeply, because without them, you're vulnerable to the noise, to the pressure, to the false belief that someone else's success is your failure. But here's the reality. Their light doesn't dim yours. Their wins don't cancel your worth. There's no shortage of greatness, only a shortage of people who believe they're capable of it. The real work begins when you stop comparing and start connecting with yourself, with your voice, with your values, with your unique rhythm and timing. Because everything you're trying to find out there, it already lives in you. The clarity, the strength, the creativity. It's not missing, it's just been buried under layers of distraction and noise. When you stop measuring your life by someone else's ruler, you finally feel the freedom to grow in your own direction. And growth doesn't need to be loud to be real. You don't have to announce every move, explain every choice, or justify every step. Some of your biggest transformations will happen quietly, silently, unseen by others, but undeniable to you. You were not designed to be a copy. You are not a duplicate. You were wired with original ideas, unique vision, and gifts that no one else can deliver exactly the way you can. And every minute you spend trying to replicate someone else's path is a minute you lose building your own. Your power isn't found in imitation. It's found in authenticity. So the next time comparison tries to creep in, pause, breathe, come back to yourself. Ask, what do I want? What lights me up? What feels true for me? Because those answers are your compass. And when you listen, when you tune in, when you let your own voice guide the way, you stop drifting and you start rising. And that shift, that quiet, powerful shift from comparison to self-connection, that's where your evolution begins. That's when you no longer move because of pressure, but because of purpose. That's when the noise fades and clarity returns. That's when you no longer need to fit in because you're finally standing out by just being you. And once you reconnect with yourself, once you start protecting your energy, building your confidence, and turning down the volume of comparison, a new awareness rises. You begin to see just how much time you've spent chasing things that were never meant to define you, chasing people, chasing approval, chasing timelines, chasing perfection. And all the while, the one thing that could truly change your life was waiting on you: focus. Focus isn't just about productivity, it's about direction. It's the decision to stop scattering your power across 100 distractions and start channeling it into something meaningful. When your focus is fractured, your life feels chaotic. But when you align your focus with your growth, you become a force. But let's be honest, focusing on yourself isn't always glamorous. It's not the loudest thing. It doesn't always get applause. You won't go viral for choosing discipline, for turning your phone off at 5 a.m. to work on your goals, or for walking away from distractions that once excited you. But that's where transformation begins, in the quiet, in the unseen, in the choices that nobody celebrates but you. And this is the part most people miss. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires you to leave the version of you that was okay with settling. It's not just about what you gain, it's about what you're willing to let go. The old habits, the old stories, the people who once felt familiar but now feel heavy. When you focus on you, you start shedding. And with every layer you let go, you become lighter, sharper, clearer. Focusing on yourself also means you stop waiting for permission. You no longer wait for someone to believe in you before you take action. You stop needing the world to give you a sign. You realize you are the sign. You become your own green light. That's what focus does. It teaches you that everything you've been waiting for is already inside you. It just needed your attention. And when you give yourself that attention, when you make space to grow, space to think, space to move without distraction, you start to see results. Real, internal, lasting change. You stop waking up dreading the day. You stop second-guessing your every move. You stop chasing things just to feel momentarily important. Because now, your confidence is built on evidence. You've seen what you can do when you're locked in. You've felt the difference between existing and living with intention. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish, it's strategic, because when you grow, everything around you grows. Your standards rise, your energy changes, your boundaries sharpen. You stop entertaining things that don't feed you. You stop wasting time convincing others of your worth. You stop playing small to keep the peace. You're not here to do everything. You're here to do what's yours. And to do that, you've got to stop being everywhere and start being present with yourself. Focused, intentional, aligned. The world will try to pull you in every direction. Let it. Just make sure you've already decided where you're going. And once you've focused, really focused, you begin to notice something powerful. Your life starts to reflect it. Things around you begin to shift, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. Your energy isn't leaking anymore. Your attention isn't scattered. You're not everywhere. You're exactly where you need to be. Because here's the truth. Your focus creates your future. Where your energy goes, your life flows. Nothing about your life is random. The outcomes you're seeing, the peace or the chaos, the progress or the plateau, they're all connected to what you consistently focus on. And if you're constantly focusing on what's missing, what's wrong, who hurt you, who left, what didn't work, you'll stay stuck in cycles that repeat pain. But when you shift your focus to what you can control, what you can build, what you can become, everything changes. Most people want transformation, but they don't want to change what they give their attention to. They want to level up, but they're still obsessing over what others are doing. They want peace, but they keep focusing on problems. They want success, but they keep watering distractions. Life doesn't respond to your intentions. It responds to your focus. And that focus needs to be intentional, not reactive. You can't keep saying you want change while feeding the same patterns. You can't keep saying you're tired of the chaos while your focus is married to drama. Every day you're casting votes with your attention. Every scroll, every conversation, every thought, it's all shaping the future you're walking into. So ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this moving me forward? Or is it anchoring me to where I no longer belong? Focus creates momentum, and momentum creates outcomes. You don't need a perfect plan. You need clarity. You need consistency. You need to keep showing up for yourself even when nobody's watching. That's how breakthroughs happen, not in grand moments, but in small, deliberate choices repeated every day. And the beauty is, focus doesn't require permission. It doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't need to be announced. It just needs to be lived quietly, powerfully, on your terms. There's a version of you on the other side of distraction, a version that's stronger, sharper, more grounded. They're not overwhelmed by every opinion. They're not distracted by every trend. They're not shaken by every setback. That version of you is already possible. but it's waiting on your focus to bring it to life. So, shift from noise to clarity, from reaction to intention, from chasing to creating, and watch what happens when your energy finally flows in the direction of your growth. So now you stand at a crossroads. The old version of you that gave your energy away to everything that didn't serve you, and the new version calling you higher, demanding your attention, your discipline, your focus. No more waiting, no more doubting, no more shrinking to fit places you've outgrown. You have the power to reclaim your energy, to silence the noise, to stop chasing validation and start building something real, to stop comparing and start creating, to stop reacting and start leading your own life. This isn't just about motivation, it's about transformation. You've heard the truth. You've felt the fire. Now it's time to act. From this moment forward, walk like someone who knows who they are, move like someone who's aligned with their purpose, speak like someone who understands their power, and live like someone who's done settling. Because the best version of you isn't in the distance. It's right here, waiting for your decision. Protect your energy. Build your confidence. Connect to your truth, stay laser focused, and let your life speak so loudly that you never need to explain your worth again. Go all in on yourself because you are your greatest investment. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for giving your time, your attention, and your energy to this moment. Now take that energy and become unstoppable.